Hello and welcome to Retail Technology Show 2024. There are thousands of people here at the venue today. We're going to be here today, tomorrow. We've got partners, we've got brands, we've got Octai here, who's an AI company. They've come all the way from London, Turkey, amazing, welcome. So we got Travel Lodge over here talking to one of our sales guys. Lots happening. So we've got our guests here talking about partnerships now. So I have got Oracle, Elavon, we've got Pennies. Very exciting to have a conversation about partnerships. And we have Ciara Shepherd, who's also from FreedomPay. So I'm going to just say, introduce yourselves. Give yourselves a round of applause and introduce yourselves first off before we start our conversation. So Charlie, do you want to start?
Yeah, hi Liesl. I'm Charlie Wager. I'm the Director of Alliances and Channels for Oracle in the EMEA and JPAC region.
Dave?
So Dave Walker, Head of Retail Sales at Elavon, Merchant Services.
Alison Hutchinson, I'm the founder of a charity called Pennies that's leading the digital microdonation movement.
And I'm Ciara Shepherd from FreedomPay. I'm Vice President of Partner Marketing, which just shows how important partnerships are to us.
Fantastic. A very warm welcome to all of you. So I'm going to kick off with a really obvious question, and maybe some people in the audience might want to know or want some clarification on when we talk about partnerships, what are we talking about? And I'm going to start that question with Charlie, because I'm also thinking some of you are going to have a very different answer on how you define partnerships. But Charlie, what's your take?
Yeah, I mean, it's a broad question. I think primarily it's about having a mutual benefit with each other. I think that's really key. I think certainly from our perspective, there's also got to be I was going to say first and foremost a commercial benefit as well, right? Because we are commercial businesses. We have to, so it's important that. But the other thing which I think has become a lot more apparent both in society and also is that our values are aligned. That as a partner you buy into our ecosystem, or your ecosystems together are compatible. So yeah, I think those are some very high level points for us that I think really define how we would want to take a partner forward.
And Oracle, I mean, you must have hundreds, if not thousands, of partners.
Oh yeah, I mean, tens of thousands globally, and that in itself presents challenges, and we're constantly looking to evolve that. And I think that's an important point as well. That you've got to. You don't want to stand still. The competition will catch you if you do that. So it's important, and that's where, for a business, a large business such as Oracle, having a partner that can add value to us, really, that's another aspect of that. That the key part is that these partners are adding value and doing that in the right way.
Dave, Elavon's perspective. So adding value, does that resonate with you?
Yeah, absolutely. I think just to agree with what Charlie's saying there, it's all about alignment. So, why are we coming together? What are we trying to solve? Obviously, there's a commercial element there, but it's got to be mutual. The customer's got to be the centre of that. We've got different types of partners that we work with at Elavon. We've got referral type partners, we've got enablement type partners. Some partners we need to enable just to be in the game. And examples of that might be with Pennies, actually, because we've seen RFPs where if you can't support the Pennies solution, you can't carry on in that process, and so there's certain partners we need to enable as well. So yeah, for us, partnerships are extremely important.
Alison, great segue to Pennies.
Absolutely, thank you. More of those customers. Well, Pennies only exist because of partnerships. I mean, we've got, while I agree commercial benefit, I think in this world of people worrying about climate, people worrying about social change, it's actually about a real clarity of a combined purpose and working with people to achieve that bigger, better, faster, with more impact, whether it be planet, people, profit, whatever it might be. And so I think for me, the important thing about partnerships are people. We talk all about purpose but if you don't have the people and the relationships, partnerships never deliver. So for me, partnerships are about purpose and people.
Ciara, would you agree?
I would definitely agree with that. I think at FreedomPay, partnerships are very much about thinking about the consumer and how consumer preferences have changed and how we can support those consumers and how our technology enables those consumer preferences and changes. We've seen a lot over the last couple of years around personalization, around customer journeys, omni-channel, consumers wanting to pay how they want, where they want, through whichever channel. So it's really thinking about what's that end purpose? How can we enable the consumer?
It's interesting you talk about enabling the consumer, because it certainly wasn't like that sort of 10 years ago. Partnerships have changed so much. Certainly I can remember back at Money 2020, 10 years ago, talking about the concept of partnering was just unheard of for so many huge brands. And Charlie, you were saying that partners really you can define partners in different ways. Talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so, I mean, we're at a retail show here, and certainly one of the big industries that we serve is retail and hospitality and food and beverage. It's obviously COVID just completely blew these industries apart. There was no playbook, there was no cookie cutter, nobody knew what they were doing. So really that's, in some ways, gave an opportunity to have a look at what partnership looks like. And I think what we've done there is kind of gone, well, do we need to look at how many we have? Do we need to look at what value those bring? And just reimagining also the value that we bring to that partner, and that brings back to that mutual point. And also the kind of values point about Pennies. You know, that Pennies is not a business, it's there to support people. But, you know, we want to align values. And again, so all of those points at the beginning are all aligned around that. But I think you've got to be constantly evolving your program. And we did that a number of years ago where we changed from having partnership levels. So, you know, gold, silver, platinum, the traditional, to kind of looking at it more as everybody's equal from a starting point, and then you buy into the speciality that you want to serve within our ecosystem. Because obviously, with a global business, there's a lot of points. So what we've tried to do is create a more specialized thing to make it easier for partners, and I think that's part of how we've had to evolve is just changing and making it easier, you know, and I think that's a natural part of hopeful progression for our partner journey.
Do you think partners has become more of a sales function? Where do you see it sitting organically?
Yeah, I mean, yes. Answer is yes. It is a sales function. I think in the last. And is it post-COVID? I don't know whether that's just convenient, but it does feel as if, it's almost, you know, we view our alliance and channels partners as an extension of us, and we view our ecosystem partners like FreedomPay. Again, you're representing us, and alongside, you know, it's very much. It's that kind of mix between sales and marketing, but I think if I was to put it into one box, it probably would be the sales box, yeah.
And Dave, I remember in a conversation you and I had offline, you were saying, you know, without partnerships, really, there's no sales.
Absolutely. I think obviously it's becoming quite a complex environment. Customers are looking to consolidate relationships. At the same time, there's the omni-channel piece there as well. Customers keep looking for that single provider that can do everything, but I don't think that holy grail's out there just yet, and I don't think it ever will be. So I think partnerships is only going to get stronger as we go forward, and absolutely serves the sales function.
That's a really interesting point, the partnerships getting stronger. So Alison, I mean, opportunities for Pennies, enormous.
Absolutely, and I think for me, where I think partnerships have evolved is I remember there was this horrible word when I used to work with IBM, and we had loads of partnerships, and it was co-opetition. And I was like, what the heck is co-opetition? You know, you're competing, but you're trying to work. And I think it's just so much further where people are being less generalist and more specialist. And I think organizations, to be the best, need to specialize. And therefore, to meet that growing need of a customer, you've got to work with the best, bring that together, and you achieve a better solution with better outcomes. So for me, I'm seeing more people becoming the real specialist in their field, finding other people they believe are specialists in their field, being fully aligned and actually delivering far better, rather than believing you can do it all yourself.
And what makes a partner really good? So you can define all of that, but then applying that.
I mean, I think for me, I'm going to come back to people, because I think we can all deliver, but what makes good partnerships is the clear purpose at the top. It's the people that really drive it right through the organisation. Because where you see partnerships going wrong is you've got the people at the top that get it, but the team that are really delivering have got a different view of the partnership or are not fully aligned or things start to fall off. So I think having that complete alignment through an organisation, and then again, things are going to go wrong. They do. I don't know any organisation that says a partnership's brilliant. I hate to say it's a bit like a marriage, but you have to work at your issues. You know, it's too easy to say, well, let's give up, it's all your fault. Good partnerships look at the issue, get to the root cause, work it out together, and I think you become stronger when you actually go through that genuine reality of making a difference.
Ciara, you were nodding
Well,
furiously
yes,
when it was like
Alison's
people.
just stolen my next
sorry.
point. But no, I completely agree. And it's about integrity, transparency. Things will go wrong. And it's about unpicking it and working through it together. So yes, I wholeheartedly agree.
How far do you go with that though? Like how, I mean, in terms of, we're all going to hit walls at a certain point, and how far do you, keep that tenacity, if you like? How far do you hold on and just get it over the line?
I think you have to keep holding on, because at the end of the day, as we've just heard, it's about mutual success. Yeah. So you have no option, but you do it in a way that is with integrity, with transparency, and you're all working towards the aim goal, the same end goal. So I think it's incredibly important.
Charlie, how do you apply that for Oracle? So when you've got literally thousands of partners, how do you play that out?
Yeah, I mean that comes down to the program really. We do have a fairly large partner network team that, and as I say, a few years ago we reimagined it, and I think part of that is having a cookie cutter standard globally. It has to be global with what we do, and that's how you get people to sort of to have that standardization. Otherwise, you could create lots of specializations within that, but I think you've got to, well, let me correct. There are specializations within it, but you've got to start from the baseline, which is, and in our case, it's one single global membership. And that's, that puts everybody on the same level globally. And then we can move into where they want to go within their specializations. But we've seen real success with that, both with FreedomPay, with our partners that are resellers, that they now, so they have their baseline, so everybody's there, and then you can pick the bits that you want to go into. And that's been a reimagination process, because that's not how it was 10 years ago. So that's all part of the evolution of the partnership. And that word is overused sometimes, but if you look at what it means, it is a circle. It's constantly evolving. It's changing. So, and that's what we want.
And there's obviously challenges, right? I mean, we've talked. I'm hearing a lot about opportunity, but what about the challenges? Because let's be honest, there are.
Yeah.
Alison.
Yeah.
How do you overcome those obstacles?
Well, I think it's back to, is it a true partnership or is it just an alignment? Because if it's just an alignment with little investment, it's easy to break and go when things get a bit fragile. Whereas if you've really invested as two organisations, time, money, energy, all of those things, then I think when things go wrong, it's all about talking. It's back to the old-fashioned actually having a conversation, which is why for me it's about relationships, because if you really can make sure you can try and solve it at that level, if you can't, you can solve it at that level. At Pennies, we'd love everybody to do Pennies tomorrow, but they can't. They've also got commercial roadmaps, they're trying to prioritise. So we have something that's called Inspire People to Take Action. And when things go wrong, people can get grumpy and people can get, well, it's not my fault, it's your fault, and start pointing. For me, when things go wrong, that's when you have to stand up. That's when a partnership counts. That's when you actually are really positive, because you're positively finding a solution to make things happen rather than let relationships get fragile and start to unravel. So for me, in adversity or in issues, that's what it's all about.
Dave, from an Elavon lens, what are some of the obstacles or barriers to success?
Speed of change is one. The landscape is evolving rapidly. So, whatever solutions that we're building today with customers and whichever partners we're linking in with, those solutions need to be able to support those new solutions that are coming through in 2 or 3 years' time, because that landscape is going to look very different. Maybe not very different, but it's going to look different. There will be new solutions, new partners that need to link in with these solutions that we're building today. And so yeah, that's key.
Curious to get, this is a bit of a wild card question, but I'm hearing a lot of buzz about AI at the minute. And I wonder, does that play a role in your world at all? Alison, okay, go. Yeah.
I think it plays a role in all of our worlds. I think back when I started working 40 years and it was all about using technology to improve efficiency and effectiveness. It's just done at super nano speed and it's called AI and it's machine learning. So, I mean, I paraphrase a little bit, but I do agree it's a buzzword. But I think it's the pace of change that's happening for us all across all parts of our lives. And for me, actually, picking up on your values and ethics point, with AI, it's actually about how do we keep that ethical lens round machine learning and AI to ensure that we're actually addressing the right issues and we're not accelerating issues in a way that we might not even understand. And so whatever in partnerships, that's going to make it even more challenging to be aligned in the purpose and the people you want to work with, because then you've got that north into which you can then look at what AI is doing, what you're doing as people, how fast it's going, and know when to put the brake on.
I suppose that's kind of what I was thinking actually when you were talking about, it's all about people, and there's this AI component, that there's a danger potentially that we are going to make partnerships too automated, and therefore we might lose some of that personalization. I don't know, Charlie, whether that's something that Oracle has considered.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's no secret if you look around, Oracle's very much into AI at the moment, and the whole machine learning concept, part of the whole pivot to cloud. That's all, that we're a technology company, we're a cloud company, we're driving that. That's, technology, we've got to be at the forefront. But what we don't want is AI for AI's sake. And I think that's important. Yes, you've got to accept that it's there, and as a technology provider, we have to work with it. But partnerships, in my opinion, and we've touched on it, we're back to this people thing, you're going to have challenges. You're going to have incompatibilities between your two organizations. We're a large corporate. We have some much smaller companies that partner with us. Now, there are going to be times where that's going to butt up against each other, and the only way of really solving that is by having a human being involved to have a sensible conversation to break down some of those barriers. So whilst I do think AI is complementary to the partner process, but I don't know whether I'm old-fashioned saying this, but I do still think there's always going to be a role for the human being. Yeah. You can't replace that face-to-face relationship. We've all been struggling with the cost of travel post-COVID, but sort of now we're getting back to that point where it's easing up a little bit. Our customers and people are really enjoying the face-to-face interaction. You can't get away from that. AI is just part of the natural growth of a partnership, but I think ultimately, you still need that person.
So true.
Yeah.
So to wrap up, I'm going to ask you all to get your crystal balls out and think about, what do partnerships look like in 5-10 years' time? So, Ciara, I'm gonna throw that ball at you first off.
Yeah, I think the world of partnerships is looking very exciting in the next couple of years. I think the last couple of years we've seen a lot of change. As I said, it's been driven by consumer preferences, been driven by technological changes. We've seen a lot of technology shifts post the pandemic, as we heard earlier, which has been really exciting. I think moving forward, we're going to see much more in terms of technology progressing. I think more and more companies will be partnering together. They'll be looking at their own technology. Can I build this? Can I maintain my own technology? Or do I actually want to partner with best in breed and make sure I can continue to deliver on those consumer preferences? Just if I may, I think the previous conversation about AI and technology, I think it's a bit of both. I think partner relationships are incredibly important, but I do personally think that automation, AI, technology has a massive part to play, especially when we're looking looking at scaling partnerships as well, and we can actually deliver a much better customer or partner experience when we take away some of that, well, when we automate and we make things simpler. So I'm really excited to be working in the partnership space over the next couple of years.
Really exciting. Thanks, Ciara.
I think looking forward, I agree. I think back to where I started, I think people are becoming more specialist, and therefore ecosystems are what really delivers outcomes. And so I just see the world of ecosystems getting larger, and therefore the reliance in doing partnerships well is going to be absolutely critical, and all the ways we talked about making that happen. But I also think we need to recognize that if you get back to the purpose of partnerships, sometimes that will be achieved and it's time to move on, and sometimes it'll be for a long time. So I'm not a believer that partnerships are forever. Partnerships have got to be aligned to that purpose, some of which will be forever, some of which will be to achieve an end game. So I think that flexibility of knowing what it's about, the ecosystem you're in, and knowing when to call it will be really, really important.
So divorce at times.
Occasionally, but I'd rather not.
Dave, what's your
Amicably.
thoughts?
Yeah. Well, 10 years is a long time, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know if I dare predict anything. Partnerships are going to get, I think, more and more important, but they are going to evolve, as you say, and it needs to align with the right purpose. I think the payment journey is going to be more and more connected. Payment's going to become embedded. It's going to be instant. What does that look like? I don't know, but I hope the human element is very much still involved here, and we don't end up in some sort of dystopian kind of payment place. But so I mean that's definitely instant, embedded, connected.
Love it. Charlie, last word from you.
Yeah, look, I mean, I think for me, it's going to be about, as we've seen over the last sort of 5 years, it's going to be about that, the agility, I think is probably the word that I'm kind of thinking about, is that I do see that, we're going to probably see less partnerships, but more value within the existing ones, because that it comes back to the point that they don't last forever. And I think it's important that as we go forward...
You're all ruthless.
I know,
Ruthless.
it's terrible, isn't it? We're all like that. But there's a reality to that, and we come back to what I said at the beginning. It's a commercial thing, right? And that, we are all here. It's I know Pennies aside, but you get it, right? Without that commercial element being successful, we're not going to carry on. So I think in order for that to be successful, we have to make sure that we are keeping that agile part in, and I think technology is only going to continue to add to that.
Fascinating discussion. Thank you all very much. So I've got some takeaways. We've got connected, we've got technology, we've got people in there, we've got divorce in there, and we've got some AI. Fantastic. Thank you all very, very much.
Thank you.
Of course, you can hear much more from FreedomPay and other conversations that we're having today and tomorrow live on YouTube. In the meantime, back to you.